Morning, Charles. How are you?
I'm pretty good, Jason. Did you have a good evening?
I did. So, what's up? I hear you got some pretty important news.
Yeah, in the last, say, 12, 24 hours, there have been a lot of developments, and in particular, this story out in New York and Switzerland, or Europe, and in Los Angeles involving Harvey Weinstein, has quickly morphed from simply being about, what Harvey, the despicable, deplorable behavior of Harvey Weinstein, but more, why did it take Hillary Clinton 5 days to come up with a response? Why did her response, and why did former President Barack Obama, Michelle Obama's response, deplore the behavior, the alleged behavior, but say nothing about giving the money back? And then why has the mainstream press not really jumped on the question of how come it appears NBC had this story a long time ago and quashed it? How come Ronan Farrow had to go and get it published not on NBC but on the New Yorker? Why is NBC firing back now and saying, well, actually the story wasn't reportable? And why is Farrow, counterpunching? So I think what we're going to see here, I'm not an entertainment expert by any stretch of the imagination. I barely go to movies, but and I watch principally news on television or sports. But there have been a lot of allegations in Hollywood and elsewhere of aggressive, more than casting couch behavior, aggressive behavior against talent, where the talent basically shuts up because there's an excess supply of talent in exchange for getting privileged positions, and that this maybe have been going on, for many decades. It may involve lots and lots of people, and these are the same sanctimonious people who stood up and decided that Donald Trump's alleged behavior in the Access Hollywood tape was horrible. These are the people who go to the various award shows and make fun of Donald Trump. Why isn't it time for the remaining few serious journalists who are out there? And moments ago, and I'm saying this in a nice way, bless his heart, the editor-in-chief of the Daily Caller, which is a respected, one of the few remaining bastions, frankly, of investigative journalism, put out a story saying it's time to make sure that the Weinstein revelations are not where we end, but where we start in thinking through what's going on out there. So I'm wondering, Jason, if we need to maybe sort of alter our schedule a little bit, and whether we need to fire up Air Goodman private jet,
Right.
and head out to the left coast with perhaps stops along the way in Las Vegas. And sorry for this noise, there's construction in the background. Head out to Las Vegas, check in on what's going on with that story, because that's bubbling up to the surface again, and elsewhere. And if we do all that, whether that means we have to adjust the Sunday with Charles.
Right. Well, I was planning on going to Vegas, but I can change that flight. I agree. There's a lot going on in LA. There's something happening now in Texas. So what I'll do is after this call, I'll post this up, and then I'll take a look at the flight schedule and change that around. I definitely am going to need to appeal to the crowd for sponsorship, just like I had on the Phoenix trip, and hopefully people will step up to the plate. The credit card's got some space on it, but it's getting difficult to foot all these bills.
Well, that's important. And, if Laura Loomer is still out there in Las Vegas, she's doing some great work, and it'd be nice for the two of you to catch up and exchange ideas. Maybe you could even interview her.
I'd love to do that. I'll send her a message, of course. And Jake Morphonius is out there. I could try and connect with Joe Napoli. So I think there is a lot to be done out on the West Coast. What was that thing in your email about Qatar, the connection between Harvey Weinstein?
So Qatar has a member of its royal family, I believe it's a lady, who is very interested in the entertainment world, and over a period of many years now was sending a ton of money to buy influence in the United States and international media. And you'll recall that they bought the Qataris. What did they do? They
Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera, but they also, I think, made an investment. They made numerous investments in Hollywood, including financing film production deals. I think they're investors in the Miramax company, which the Weinstein brothers founded and sold to Disney. And so there's been a lot of hoopla in the 2015-16 campaign season and afterwards, emanating from the Clintons and Soros and Podesta, discussing undue influence by the Russians in shaping public opinion. And I think some tough questions need finally to be asked about the role of the Qataris, who I think, as somebody who was involved with the Stop Qatar Now movement, I've had briefings from really intelligent people with experience making plain the extent the Qataris, elements in Qatar were involved with the Arab Spring and promoting the overthrow of numerous regimes across the Middle East and pushing the Muslim Brotherhood forward. Now, a lot of this happened under Hillary Clinton's watch as Secretary of State. Qatar there's an email, WikiLeaks rather, Podesta emails dump. Great if we can link that up for our viewers. Go take a look at that email. Mm-hmm. But this is an interchange back and forth involving Hillary, I think Cheryl Mills, John Podesta, and others. There was a Wall Street Journal story, Rebecca Bauhaus and somebody Grimaldi, I think, raised questions about the government filings, the government contributions filings to the Clinton Foundation, which I will say on this broadcast have never appropriately been filled out. In particular, for the period 1998 to 2007, they have yet to amend their filings explaining exactly which governments gave what money in that time frame. And I believe that Saudi Arabia gave about $10 million in 2004 to the Clinton Foundation, supposedly for its endowment. In addition, Qatar is rumored to be given money directly to the foundation and also to projects sponsored by the foundation, including the Clinton-Bush Haiti escapades beginning in 2010, and it's rumored prior to that a project to supposedly help people in Katrina. And there may also have been Clinton Global Initiative projects funded by the Qataris. And the Clintons have yet to make clear what was going on there and what benefits Qatar may have derived through intercession of the Clintons. There's something called Qatar Telecommunications Company, which changed its name to something called Urdu, funny spelling, I can't remember exactly what. And that Urdu, needed to go public. And it was principally, backed by the royal family, operating in the Middle East, while Hillary was Secretary of State and afterwards. The Clinton Foundation, I think, helped that Urdu possibly get additional licenses to operate in Indonesia and Myanmar, and subsequently went public, reaping hundreds of millions of dollars of profits in the process. So, I don't know what happened there.
Isn't Urdu a language, Charles?
No, it's spelled Ouredeoo or something like that. It is a language, and I don't know what happened to the picture just now. I touched the screen to try to clear it.
I've still got you.
Okay, good. So, yeah, I'll find the actual link and send it to you. But there needs to be some serious questions asked and answered now about the degree to which the Clinton Foundation secured donations in theory from these foreign governments, and what favors that the foreign governments get back in return. It's not simply Uranium One. There are lots of governments that have given, in particular Qatar. And, that's a government where the Saudi Arabian-led regime is now very much against Qatar, I think with good reason. The Qataris have been, they were trying to build influence in the United States, including, I think, a campus for Georgetown University over in Qatar. And, we just can't have a system where foundations affiliated to presidents and former presidents and prospective presidents are used as cash machines to, basically allow these foreign regimes to have either influence in the country they shouldn't have, or to escape prosecution by government authorities and escape pressure by our government around the world. We've got to change this. We've got to expose it.
Right. Wasn't there also that Podesta email in WikiLeaks where Hillary Clinton says something about knowing that Saudi Arabia and Qatar are funding ISIS in Libya?
Yeah, absolutely. Good for bringing that up. Yeah. I mean, I think after World War II, and I apologize for this background noise, but we can't do anything about it.
That's right.
After World War II, when we created our various intelligence services, I think the American public surrendered too much to the faceless people who operate these multiple agencies around the world. We have to look at the track record, 1945 to the present, or 2001 to the present, and ask some very serious questions. I mean, can we truthfully say that what has happened has really been excellent work? Or do there need to be a new series? I think in the 1970s there was an Idaho senator, I think his name was Frank Church, who led hearings in Congress that went through what the CIA and others may have done around the world and attempted to put in controls. I think it's clear those controls have been gutted.
Right.
And I think, now in the case of the Clinton Foundation, it is inarguably the case that that foundation has been used by the Clintons and their associates to garner funds for their personal enrichment and perhaps for their political campaigns. That model is now, I think, being emulated by the Obamas. And the American people have had enough of this. I think we need to really raise our voices and make sure that the Congress does its job, gets to the bottom of what's really going on with the Clintons and the Obamas and with other foundations. And I also think, this horrible Weinstein episode needs to be really investigated full bore.
Well, I'll take a look at the flights, and we'll make a plan to head out west and see if I can get back in touch with some of my Hollywood contacts. And if there's anybody out there that we'll start asking some questions.
Great, and I guess you got your passport fully stamped and all that?
I do believe I have dual citizenship with New York and California, so it should be no problem.
Then you taking your yellow fever shots?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, listen, Charles, I'll speak to you a little later, okay?
All right, thanks again, Jason.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.